look, my carry weight went down. Progress. Video games. What a wonderful genre they are, where you can take a bottle of a drink, pop the top, gulp it down, and you're suddenly 3 pounds lighter. Doesn't make any sense, does it? Or does it? Having just come back from doing my groceries today, which I do once a month because I'm on food stamps, I have a little bit of a perspective on these things because, well, when I left I was hungry, when I came back I wasn't. When I left I was weak, I came back I was strong. The difference between the two? I drank a Gatorade on the way back. Hashtag not sponsored, hashtag could be sponsored. But joking aside, a common joke a lot of people like to make about Bethesda games is the idea that you can eat some food or drink some soda or drink some Nuka-Cola or whatever, eat a sweet roll, and you're now lighter and you're no longer over-encumbered. And is that realistic? And I have to say, after a couple of months of intense study and testing of it, I have to say, yeah, it's very realistic. A lot of people don't really think about the logistics of how food, body fuel, carry capacity all interrelate. The new survival mode in Fallout 4 kind of gives you an idea where if you are hungry and thirsty, you get negative debuff, you get strength, I think it's perception, intelligence. You get weaker when you're hungry, which makes sense. When we're hungry, we feel weaker. When we're fed, we don't feel weaker anymore, so we feel stronger by comparison. So when you look at it from that perspective, yeah, if you're hungry and you eat some food, your strength, you're hungry, you have a strength debuff, and you're now over-encumbered because you're weakened because your body doesn't have the fuel to carry everything that it would normally be able to carry. You drink some food, you eat some food, you drink some water, whatever. You've reduced that debuff, your body's back at full capacity, and you're now functioning, perfectly good. You no longer have the debuff, and because you no longer have a debuff, your strength is now higher, which means your carry capacity is higher. Okay, that kind of makes sense. When you're weaker, you can't carry as much because you're, starving and all that. But what happens when you're at full health and you drink a soda or you eat a sweet roll or whatever, and you now have less carry capacity? Well, I have to say, again, from my own research, this is very real. Now, there are limitations to how the way the game's presented it. You drink it. I go and gulp down a Gatorade, and it just vanishes from my inventory. Just nothing there anymore. When in reality, what you would have is you'd have an empty bottle. Now, granted, the empty bottle weighs significantly less. If my scales were working, I could weigh these two things and say, well, this definitely weighs more because I can feel it pulling down on my hand right now as we talk, while this one's definitely not doing any sort of hard work there. But you don't really get back junk. That's why a couple of mods I've created for Fallout 4 and I'm working on for Skyrim, when you finish a piece of food, you get some junk back in your inventory. The junk weighs significantly less than the fully weighted food item. And of course there's other consensuses. I mean, I know the Dragonborn is powerful, but being able to shove an entire pie into his mouth in one bite. And not only does the weight go away, but he finishes the pie in one bite. Now, I love to eat. People who have watched my cooking segments know I like to cook. But finishing an entire pie, the size of your head, in a single bite, it's a little unrealistic. Now, of course, there have been mods, and there have been changes, and there have been things. If you play in Skyrim and you're using something like I Need, and it has the water skins, which say, 3 of 3, and you go and take your water skin, and it's just like, now it's 2/3 of the way, and then and now it's 1/3, and you have an empty water skin. But there's really nothing that does that like food. You can't just go and get a giant Edder cheese wedge, which is the size of your head. And you have 5 wedges left. Not too many mods I can think of do that. And that's really what would be more realistic. And of course, getting back to junk. But when you get right down to it, yeah. When you eat food, you get stronger. It's immediately converted. in some form or capacity into fuel. It goes into your stomach where it goes and mixes with stomach acids. And yeah, when you eat food, you get stronger and you carry less. I know this from plenty of times of carrying groceries over the years on food stamps where I have to put as much as I can into one cart, but I then have to walk back because I don't own a car. I've got all this food on my back. I know specifically the weight of carrying a ton of food on your back, walking home for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, depending on what grocery store I'm going to. So I can tell you from experience, having a ton of food on my back, and then I go and, open up a Gatorade on my way home and just go. And, the hunger goes away, so the strength debuff goes away. But now, I have 2/3 of a soda in my hand. Because the other 1/3 is in my stomach. Which means it's not on my back. Which means also being turned into fuel to keep my strength up to keep carrying. So the weight does go down. The weight vanishes. For all intents and purposes, the weight is gone. It's no longer carrying you down. It's no longer encumbering you. It's no longer slowing you down. Because it's been immediately converted. Well, not immediately. It takes some time for food to process in your body. But for all intents and purposes, it's immediately gone. And your body's now turned it into fuel. So it's like putting fuel into your car. If you carry the fuel in a tank in the back of your car, it adds weight to your car. But when it's inside your car, being used as fuel for your car, it's not really weight that's weighing down the car. It's fuel that's providing power to the car. Now, yes, if you were to actually weigh the car itself, there would be no change in the weight. So that's not what carrying capacity is in video games. It's not the weight, your personal weight, plus the weight you're carrying. It's just the weight of things you're carrying. If you're playing a super skinny character who would weigh, 90 pounds in the real life, your carrying capacity isn't, using Skyrim for an example, or Fallout 4, where it's, base 300? It's not 300, then minus 90 for the weight of your body. Just 300. Because the weight of your body is superfluous. How much you personally weigh is superfluous. The clothes you put on, they'll weigh you down. The stuff you're carrying, that'll weigh you down. But the actual weight of your physical body, your hair, your nails, your stomach acids, your blood, your guts, none of that matters when it comes to your carry weight, how much you can carry. Now, yes, granted, there is some science behind the fact that people who are overweight have to carry around more physical weight, and that can have hell on their knees. But that's health issues. That would be other debuffs that you could look at, which games don't really cover. They don't really cover the health of the character, per se. But in terms of carry weight, and of course that doesn't really change from day to day. If I weigh 250 pounds today, and I weigh 250 pounds tomorrow, yes, that might be doing some damage to my knees. Yes, that's a weight that a person who weighs half my weight doesn't have to have. But by the same token, the person who weighs half as much as I can probably can't carry as much as I can. And they might have a much leaner or meaner body, but for all intents and purposes, it doesn't factor. Your body weight does not factor into what you can carry. And so, you drink something, you eat something, the weight vanishes from your inventory, but it's giving you fuel, it's giving you energy to continue going on. Now, of course, the big problem with video games is that's good, it's real, it works, as I mentioned. But it excludes the one main aspect that I've never seen even in the new survival mode for Fallout 4 does, and that's overeating. If you were to, again, if you're going by the Skyrim example, the Fallout 4 example, you can take a giant pie and scarf it down, and you finish off 3 Nuka-Colas, and you wash it down with some Mentat, and then you wash it down with a Sweet Roller 5, and you've reduced your weight by 25 pounds, say. And all that weight's gone into you. That's more fuel than your body needs. Your weight does technically go down. It has been converted into energy for your body, and you don't technically need it. But at the same token, all things other excluded, like the food's not part of a limited budget like it is for me. Your body now has more food than it knows what to do with, and that usually gets converted into excess, into waste that you exit from your bowels later. But there's also another thing that happens when you overeat. You tend to get sluggish, tired. The famous food coma, whenever you have, Thanksgiving dinner or whatever. Whenever people overeat, it's the food coma. That we all know about the food coma. And yet, video games don't really represent the food coma, do they? You can overeat to excess, but you never really have a situation, even in the new hardcore mode, where if you just shove a bunch of food into your mouth to reduce your weight capacity, you never really see the character say, tiredness has increased. So, the question then is, as we initially presented, is eating food in video games to reduce your carry weight realistic? Yes, it is. But it could prove. Let me hear your thoughts down in the description, down in the comments, and I will see you all next time.